we get so wrapped up now a lot of times in trying to be really evidence-based and very much, sort of doing our practice applications in conjunction or in line with current research findings. And if you start reading any of the research, if you know anything about how to evaluate things, there's often in this sort of standard research protocols, people who get a treatment and people who don't get a treatment. They get what's called the placebo, which is supposedly a non-power, if you talk about drug trials, for example, that's where it's really easy to understand. One drug is supposed to be the one that performs some kind of physiological action on the body. The other one is supposed to be inert and not do anything. And that is considered to be a placebo. But the whole idea of placebos has really gotten sort of misconstrued, as you had mentioned there, because, in many instances, I mean, there have been times when people have been given placebo treatments and told they were given the pharmaceutically active ingredient and they got better. And we should really be studying that process, because a lot of this has to do with, in many instances, we're just really trying to kick off the body's innate healing capabilities and properties. And this is one of the things that gets really, really difficult to do when you're studying research about massage, because it's virtually impossible to give a placebo massage treatment. You can't have a real treatment and then a treatment that is the placebo that's not necessarily effective, because everything about the context with our treatment is part of the treatment itself. The room, the smells, the touch, even if you don't do a particular type of technique that's being evaluated, it's not a true placebo, because there's physiological effects of what's happening there. So the thing is, I think we need to be studying that very powerful effect in much greater detail, and not looking at a placebo as an inert or ineffective type of treatment process that we compare against the real treatment, so to speak.
Yeah. And maybe that's where we need to follow that path as manual therapists, and not just massage, but, physiotherapists, osteopaths, chiropractors, the gambit goes forever. Even personal trainers, like that the will of someone to do an exercise that they could not naturally ever do. Like they can't do a 1 RM rep on something that's a massive weight, and then the brain is so powerful that how do we measure those?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So very, very difficult to measure and quantify, but we also need to look at the components of that and recognize that it does have inherently within it some very powerful actions that can occur.
Yeah, exactly.